Hi team, my name is Derek Thompson and I'm here today to talk about the local air quality for Charles County, Maryland. Alright, so the purpose and objective of this presentation is to analyze the local air quality in Charles County, and the focus will be on some criteria pollutants. We're looking at ozone and particulate matter 2.5, and we'll talk about some of the emission sources and environmental justice concerns. Right. So when I say Charles County, you're also going to hear me talk a lot about Waldorf, Maryland. So Waldorf, Maryland um, is the biggest city in the county. It's the fifth largest city in Maryland. So it takes about half the population, and the population to date is 84,408,000. Right. So the next question is, why air quality concerns? So during a recent I won't say recent, but doing a review from the Charles County Resilient Team on the environment, they received a score of B minus. This score, caused some concern just because of how we've seen trends in the past since since we've started, kind of investing into the environment. And it's easy for environmental things to happen that can push the score to a C or a D. All it takes is one major incident or a minor incident in some cases, and we're in a space. So they've decided to come up with a climate action plan where they've talked to the residents and stakeholders to come up with a solution to work together as a team to make sure that we can get this score up to an A plus, if possible. And I believe that it is. But some of the things that can contribute to that B minus is an increase in residents. So every year, Charles County is getting about 2,000 actual new participants or residents in the area. So with that number, every year it's not a revolving door, which makes that a concern. So while people are coming in, move in, typically with military communities, you have people that would come and kind of leave out, but a lot of people come in, they're retiring here, and they're starting to stay in the area. So the number, while it says 2K, that doesn't we're not seeing that many people leave at the same time either. It's also the third higher ranking county contributing to deforestation or forest loss. So that is a major concern. And then there's a desire from the city planner, Mr. Mark Thompson, who is over the financial and the economics section, to have more people come in. So his desire is to have more people in the area and to also make it so that they don't want to leave. So that entails bringing in more businesses. That entails having more traffic, and and in the summertime, that could potentially bring in more tourism into the area too. So there's a lot of concerns there when you look at it from an environmental concern. Traffic diversion points to offset the 95 is also a concern. So the 95 corridor is DC, Maryland, Waldorf, pretty much all in that area. That 95 is a very hectic place. It's not where I like to be at in rush hour. So a lot of people like me, if I was probably in there, would want to go through the 301 to offset a lot of that traffic. So with the 301, when you go through there, you go right through some of the major parts of the Charles County area. Those parts through there create a lot of environmental justice concerns, because once you get outside of Waldorf and La Plata, you have a lot of lower income areas that are on that 301 that experience a lot of that traffic, especially during the summertime when people are headed up to the northern parts of Maryland, Jersey, Delaware, New York. So with that, they're getting a lot of that emissions. That's right there. You see a lot of motels, trailer parks, and things of that nature that are right on the side of the road. So they're catching all that emissions, which brings up a major concern for any environmentalist. Okay, just want to point out one other thing with the deforestation, that I've been in the area now since 2018. That's when I moved here, and it was, I didn't see any deforestation. I mean, it was minimum. I mean, at that point, it was really no street lights. I had a lot of walking trails through the woods that I could see. But over the last 5-6 years, I've noticed an increase in deforestation to now when I actually drive, myself, I see, pretty much new shopping complex, see new residents being built. I see, compartment complex, all these things happening. So it is going to be a major concern when it comes down to air quality because, urban heat island effect, absorption, and, increasing the community size, which brings in additional concerns for us in that realm. So, okay, so Waldorf, Maryland faces air quality concerns primarily with ground level ozone and fine particulate matter. These are Maryland's biggest air challenges, formed mostly by fuel combustion in vehicles, power plants, and industries. Other criteria, pollutant like carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and lead, have generally remained well below the national standard in this area, thanks to modern emission control. So, ground ozone, that's what we want to kind of get at first, and that's what the slide has here, has historically been an issue on hot summer days in the Charles County area. So over the past 5 years, though, our levels have improved significantly. Charles County recorded few unhealthy days. For example, only about 1 day with ozone above the health standard in recent years. The American Lung Association gave the county a B grade for ozone in 2022, and this is reflecting like all the work that's been done to pretty much get to where we are. So a dramatic drop also from the exceeding days has happened, which 10.6 ozone exceeding days per year in 2018 to 2022 to less than 3 days or less over in 2022. Sorry. So that was a significant thing that kind of happened, and just want to really point that out. But the biggest concern with emissions is the actual health of the residents, right? So we're looking at children and older adults. So that population, that number is 31,871. And so making sure that we take care of that population is the biggest concern on making sure that we kind of keep the actual ozone in check. So those are numbers that we got to continuously check. So in 2023, we did have that number double. And as we did the research, what came up was due to Canadian wildfires being pushed down, that affected the actual ozone and kind of increased those numbers. Right. All right, so I also have this chart here, and I wanted to, kind of highlight how Charles County has done over the years when dealing with ozone. So this chart is, this map says shrinking ozone problems. So from 2005 to 2025, these are 5-year trends of what we've seen being done by following after the Healthy Air Act and the Clean Car Program. So as you notice, you can see that these numbers are significantly dropping as we started implementing better procedures. So that was, the catalytic converters on the vehicles, bringing scrubbers and different things in so that we can actually hold factories and different businesses accountable for their responsibility to the environment. So I thought this was pretty significant and wanted to really highlight how well we're done. Now in 2025, one thing you will notice, it is starting to get a little bit lighter. But even in the actual Charles County area, which is the lower part of Maryland, we're still kind of maintaining that heavy green. All right, so fine particulate matter in Charles County has generally met health standards. So one of the examples that I had found when I started looking at some of the numbers, in 2017 to 2018, the number was 8.5 micrograms per cubic meter. And in 2019, 11.2 micrograms per cubic meter. So there's generally been few unhealthy days in the area that I seen when I was looking at the actual quality numbers. And overall, air quality has improved significantly in Maryland. But I will say that some of the data is very difficult to get. So I don't know if it's because of the government shutdown, but I wasn't able to get too much data on particulate matter like I wanted to. But they did find out that they're very close to meeting all the federal health-based air quality standards for the first time in 30 years, thanks to emission reductions in power plants vehicles, other sources. So that's where we are right now. But as the numbers come out, we'll have to look. But the troubling piece that I got and I want to point out was the actual EPA standard was moved from 12 to 9 micrograms per cubic meter in 2024. If we are kind of where we were, we may not be meeting standards if we haven't went down. So once I get those numbers, I'll be able to have more information. It seems like right now calling over due to the government shutdown, it's kind of hard to even get in contact with some of the environmentalists and the people that can kind of give me that information. So I will get that, and hopefully the next presentation that we have, I have more information that's kind of points towards where we are on that number. All right, so just a quick overview on some of the quality trends from 2018, 2013. We did show that for ground level pollutants, exceedance dropped from 10.6 average to less than to 3 or less in 2022. Also, we looked at the actual particulate matter, where the standards were set from 2017 to 2022, and that number went to 10 to 11 micrograms per cubic meter, which is well below at that time the actual standard that was set of 12. All other pollutants were in standard. The bigger thing that gets to highlight and point out was in 2023, Maryland exceeded its ozone ground level pollutant number, but due to Canada fires that kind of blew down and caused an increase in that ozone level. So, okay, moving forward, let's talk about the major source of air pollution. One of the things that we talked about consistently in this PowerPoint was the traffic on the 301 corridor. If you look at the actual pie chart over there, you can see that 44% of the emissions concern or air pollution concern was transportation and mobile sources. And this includes like the actual 301 corridor, cars coming through there. But also we want to look at something that, is probably more of the upwind regional pollution too, but is the actual air traffic that we get that come over the area. So DC, the DCA, and then also the Baltimore airport also has planes that fly over that area consistently. I'm seeing them every day. Matter of fact, a lot of times when I'm actually coming into DCA, I can see my home when we're actually getting ready to land. So those are significant things. But then you also have residential energy, and then commercial energy, and then solid waste. So these are concerns. I did put on here a couple of the actual power plants that I wanted to kind of talk about. So the first one was the actual Morgantown power plant. It was closed in 2022, but I thought it was significant to have a quick conversation on it, just because the power plant was a major emitter of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, which formed a lot of the ozone, ground level ozone, and kind of hurt the environment a lot. But the biggest thing I wanted to point out about that one, it was known as a significant source of smog forming pollution that aggravated respiratory ailments and earned a D+ in the environmental justice grade from the NAACP. Thought that was pretty significant. And then even with the Energy Center at St. Charles, that is another heavy producer of nitrogen oxide and carbon dioxide. So those are things that, with that one still being around, something that has to continuously be monitored as we move forward. A little more data on the actual Morgantown station is in 2006 it had 98,000 tons of sulfur dioxide and 15,000 tons of nitrogen dioxide, and in 2019 2,000 tons each for the reduction 90%. So that's when all the effects of the Clean Air Act had kind of taken place, and some of the controls that caused that was the scrubbers, the SCRs, and then the baghouse. And then so the actual coal retired in 2022 with near zero emissions. All right. So just some of the meteorological influences that just highlight real quickly: summer heats, stagnation, sunlight, winter aversion for particulate matter, wildfires, and then airflow, regional transports, and then Baltimore precursors. So I just want to hit over those. So this kind of brings me to the end of my presentation. Just wanted to let you know that my regulations that I used was the Maryland Healthy Air Act, California Clean Car Act, and then I have my actual reference pages here. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to hearing from you.